I hear you got a sweet new girlfriend?
Secret's this way.
If I think anything might happen to her, I'm gonna kill both of you.
Town. Man, that sounds like a horror movie, don't it? Sounds like the town that eats people. Between what I usually say, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. I still can't figure that out. Was that an honest mistake? You used to say Ben Affleck. I was come on, man.
No,
did you say it once by accident when you were drunk on the show or something, and then you're like, screw it, I'm sticking with it?
No, I have a condition called stupidity. It causes me to to say words wrong sometimes. No,
I got it right just from watching those commercials with the duck.
yeah, Ben Affleck.
But I tell you,
that guy's been afflicted with is I got to get the fuck out of Boston.
Oh yeah,
and I'm only coming back to shoot movies and show everybody what a fucked up place this was.
That's what I'm saying, man. But between this boy's last movie, which was Gone Baby Gone, and this movie right here, he really hates Boston, man. Even though he makes movies about Boston and the people in Boston and make them look bad, I have to admit, I enjoyed Gone Baby Gone. I really love that movie, and I love this movie too, man. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, this guy, like, you know, he has risen like a phoenix from the ashes from his career being a joke as an actor to be just this phenomenal director who really understands how to make good crime movies.
Yeah, he is taking a massive step up in his career as far as that goes, that's for sure. I mean, really, what he's kind of doing, he's inventing almost this kind of new noir.
And don't pick up a woman from there, because she's got a kid already. Yeah. She's on dope, and she's got a kid she doesn't give a shit about.
Yeah, both these movies have that character, this really fucked up skank.
Yeah. I mean, man, it takes a lot to make a sexy bitch like Blake Lively look skanky and untouchable, but damn if he didn't do it.
What most people say is disgusting, I usually say is obtainable. So
that is a good point.
Yeah, but outside of how scummy he makes everybody look, the boy knows story structure. He knows how to get great performances out of people. He knows how to pull in tension and have movies that are written with such great dialogue. I mean, it's like, you know what? You think back to him and Matt Damon winning that Oscar for writing. It's like, you know what? They won that for a reason. I mean, he clearly has some, plenty of talent.
We not only see him doing such a great job as a director, like we did in Gone Baby Gone, but here he's also stepping back in front of the camera. I got to tell you, I think this is the performance of his lifetime.
It's true.
Oh,
all those little old mannerisms are gone. He's transformed himself.
Oh, he's just like George Clooney. With George Clooney, we talked about him because he had that head tick for a while, and he just stopped one day, like he almost wore a neck brace for a year so he could control himself. And now I'm
sure somebody must have just grabbed him and said, "Stop doing that."
Ben Affleck, man, yeah, he's like, yeah, motherfuckers, y'all used to laugh at me. I was the guy who couldn't act, who dated the Latina chick with the big booty, and now I'm gonna show you motherfuckers something. He got behind the camera, and not only is he comfortable directing behind the camera, but I think he like you said in this movie, he gives a fine performance. With this movie right here in particular, The Town, it's based off of a novel by this guy named Chuck Hogan. His novel Prince of Thieves. It deals with 4 friends. All these guys grew up in the neighborhood, and they established that in this neighborhood, you're either going to be a whore or a criminal. And these guys, well, they're bank robbers. You got to give them credit. They are very good at robbing banks, but even the best criminals, especially criminals like this, while they're good at executing the crime, they're not very good at sewing up loose ends. So when this movie opens up with a really cool bank robbery.
Yeah, I mean, last time I saw a bank robbery this cool, Batman was involved in it.
On the Joker, yeah. but here, when they go and rob this bank, they end up taking one of the employees hostage. It's a girl played by Rebecca Hall. And you can tell that was never part of the plan. But because of that one element of taking this girl hostage, she is somebody that could implicate all these guys. Now, this group is comprised of usually what we find with gangs like this. You have the young, stupid guy. You have the fat guy. You have the handsome guy. Guess who that is in this? And then
the smart guy, the brains. You got the brains. You got the brains, the muscle, the comedy relief,
and the guy flies off the handle.
Yeah,
and throws a chair.
And you got the crazy guy, and that's Jeremy Renner in this. He is the guy that says, "Hey, look, this bitch knows something, all right? And I'm just saying, we just offer right now." And Ben Affleck, him being the compassionate criminal, he's like, "Hey, look, let me just go ahead and take care of this. I'll go and follow this girl, make sure nothing's happening, make sure she doesn't get out of control, and if need be, I will talk to her. He doesn't even talk to her. She talks to him. They're in a laundromat, and she's like, hey, can I borrow some quarters? He's like, damn, I don't fuck this girl. So they end up going, they end up dating. And
well, you have to admit, I mean, he's got to have a lot of charm too. I mean, he is a handsome guy because the fact that she just got robbed and is going through post-traumatic stress syndrome, but she's still flirting with him.
Well, a lot of people say that you know how you have the rebound guy. This is the rebound guy for her post-traumatic stress syndrome. So she just said, look, I've gone through a lot of shit. I got to get laid. So she makes it real easy for him to get involved. Now if it wasn't for
the local mental hospital here in town, I never would have gotten laid. That's where you just hang out outside of that when they're leaving. You're just like, hey baby, what's going on?
Yeah, you're like, hey, you just went through some shit. I'm your man. But yeah, so you can kind of tell where this is going to go. I mean, she's brought into the mix. Feelings get involved. You got that one guy who, if he finds out about it, is not going to be any good for any of them. And combine that with the rest of just the community. I mean, this is a community where it doesn't pay to be smart, because if you're smart, people are going to want you to be in on their crime. You're going to be the.
That's true. You don't have a chance. Did you get an A on that test? Cool. Come here. I need you to help me plan a bank job.
Or I'll kill your whole family.
Yeah. Hey, you made an A on your test. Can you fire a gun?
This town, Charlestown, they tell you at the beginning of the film that this town has produced more bank robbers than any town in America. This has more bank robberies than any town in the entire world. And you go like, well, shit, why don't you just erect a jail around this town, just like a giant fence, and lock it up?
Yeah, until they send in Snake Plissken to rescue the president. But the bigger question is, why do they keep building banks in it?
Yeah, it should be all online banking. That's it.
Yeah. What the fuck is going on in this town that it recruits bank robbers at a very young age? I mean, it's a tradition. It's passed down from father to son. That's what they tell you. It's like, what, Jesus Christ, what is career day like at your school? It's like, this is my father. He robs people for a living. It is a heist film. It's a cops and robber movie. It has elements of the mafia in there. You have pretty much the Irish mafia, who are very organized in what they do and make it very, very, very hard for you to walk away. I mean, if you're in the neighborhood, you're in the family.
Well, that's the thing. It's so much tradition that goes all the way back through generations that you're kind of born into it. It's like when you watch it, you feel like, with Ben Affleck, maybe you root for him because he's a compassionate or smart one, but he's still a criminal. You're like, man, at the end of the day, this guy's still a scumbag. But the longer the movie goes on, you kind of see like, wow, he really didn't have all that much of a choice. And even Jeremy Renner's character, this guy he's really proven himself what a great actor he's been. He's that loose cannon at first. You think Joe Pesci from Goodfellas, but the longer it goes on, you see more dimension to him. It's like he's not that crazy, and he's got reasons to be this way.
I feel like he is that crazy. I think that he got more that way after going to jail for basically, stepping in the way of something that some guy that was going to fuck up Ben Affleck.
In the 302, feds have me dropping Brennan right here.
I didn't ask you to do that.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to, Dougie. Come on. They told me Brendan Leahy was coming down here to roll up on you with a Glock 21, so I came over here, and I put him in the ground. They're 9 years for it. Now, you don't gotta thank me, but you're not walking away.
I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. Your family took me in when my father went away. You're like a brother to me. But I'm leaving.
You shoot me?
Go ahead. But you're gonna have to shoot me in the back.
But he is that loose cannon. He is that crazy guy. It's not that we get so much more depth for him as that we get more depth for his relationship with Ben Affleck's character.
Sure.
That we understand why Ben Affleck isn't just telling him to fuck off and why he's not just punching Affleck in the face.
Well, that's the great thing about this film is that these are the same types that we see in these kind of movies. This is the same situation, the same themes, a plot that we see over and over again, where it is that one last doomed job that they have to do, the one that's going to do them in. I think people recognize that, and some people probably won't like that just because of the nature of what it is alone. However, in the movie, they give you a lot of circumstances more than you get in movies of this type. And I like that they give you that dimension to these characters. I mean, we love these kind of characters. I mean, I don't think this movie's trying to show you anything different, but I do like to have just a little more backstory if you're going to give me all these character types that I've seen over and over again.
You talk about how it's like people might be turned off like it being like other movies, but I just thought it did a better job than those other movies. We just saw that movie Takers, where they go on the one last job, the doom job. Everybody knows it. And they don't give us a good reason for them to do that, or they don't have a good reason for them not to pull out several times throughout the movie. And even a movie like Heat, that this is like, I like this so much better because even with that movie, I was like, you guys are veterans, you should know better to bail on this. And I couldn't believe why they didn't. Where here, everything is outlined.
It's odd because as much as as what we're talking about, that these are real strengths here due to a really well written script, it almost seems like a shame in light of Gone Baby Gone, which was so wildly inventive, really, and just incredibly dark, that this does fall back on so many familiar tropes. I mean, at the same time, it's reinventing them. It's not reinventing them, but it's reinvigorating them with new life. But it is still very familiar tropes, and it did get on my nerves a little bit that they felt like we've just got to explore the same old story again.
And that's why I love John Hamm's character in the movie. You might recognize John Hamm from Mad Men. In this movie, he plays the head of the FBI the head of the FBI department that's going after these guys here. And they want you to, I mean, if this was any lesser film, he would be that asshole Fed guy.
He'd be a dirty cop. He'd do some things you go like, oh man, that's not cool. That's dishonorable. But
because they want to do the thing that's happened so many times before, where the cops are a sort of mirror of the criminal in their own way. But that's at this point a cliche in and of itself.
Yes.
So it was refreshing not to see that. On the other hand, they didn't really do much with this character either. He's just kind of there to serve his purpose in the story, which is fine because the story's not about him.
Exactly. And one thing that makes his character not just become that flat device is the great dialogue that's written for him. I mean, dialogue is written throughout the movie. And him and Ben Affleck get most of the best lines. But, man, John Hamm delivers on so much that every time he comes on screen, you're like, ooh, what's he going to say next?
Well, he's not he's not a dirty cop. But you look at him and you think, okay, he's in an environment where they play rough, so he's going to play rough. And it's probably not within normal or even legal means to do what he's doing.
You and your boys didn't just roll a Star Market over in Malden for a box of quarters. No, you decided to bang it out in the North End at 9 o'clock in the morning with assault rifles. You dummies shot a guard. Now you're like a half-off sale at Big and Tall. Every cop is in line. Fortunately, though, for you, this guard has miraculously clung to life. Now, if it were up to me, and they gave me 2 minutes and a wet towel, I would personally asphyxiate this half-wit so we could string you up on a federal M1 and end this story with a bag on your head and a paralyzing agent running through your veins. But I did want to say one thing. You're here today so I could personally tell you that you are going to die in federal prison. And so are all your friends. No deal. No compromise.
A lot of people, they want to be Heat, they want to be Scarface, and they're not very creative with their shootouts in the movie. I mean, a simple shootout. There is a very cool car chase in this movie where one of the main reasons why you're on edge with this car chase is because they're not trying to do something stupid like, oh, look, we're driving on the opposite side of the street at full speed. That's something that's overused. I mean, as you said, Boston itself is a character. Boston is full of small alleys and streets, and you just wonder how these guys are going to fit through here. At some point, they're going to get cornered because it's just too tight for them to get around, and they managed to do it. I mean, that's how professional these guys are, and it's like watching them go through a maze and knowing how to get out of it. But there's a shootout near the end of this movie there, and it lasts for like about 20 minutes or so, but there's one part in there where there's two guys, very close proximity of a car, and all I can say is that not only was that executed or choreographed very well, but it actually was creative. It had some imagination behind it. These people chasing each other around a car. And when I watched that, was probably one of the most exciting parts of the movie to me. I'm praising this movie, but let me say some things that kind of got to me about the film. I mean, besides it just being
popcorn was $9.
Man, that's always a complaint. Can you believe it? Boy, I tell you.
$9. It's popcorn.
Theater food. Yeah, no. Movie food. People, am I right? No, so I'm looking at this, at some of the cameos they have in here. Some of them are good and some of them kind of got on my nerves. Pete Postlewaite, I think, is one of the finest actors out there. And I think that he was very good in this film. But he does something that's kind of stupid that just tries to make him a little bit too evil.
I hear what you're saying, and that flashed my head for a second. But then everything he said, it's like, that is so important to this plot. It really explains so much of why this is happening.
Yeah, his scene opens up the entire film, really. I mean, there's that one really pertinent scene, and yeah, he's not in this movie a lot, but that one scene where he suddenly reveals, you realize not only who he is, but how much he is the key to everything else that's happened in this story.
Yeah. Chris Cooper comes in. This is a man who, as many years as he's been in this acting game, he never ceases to amaze me, even in some of his worst films. And he always continues to change. I mean, in this, he plays a character in here where, you know, it's not a radical performance, but, you know, a little bit different from what I've seen Chris Cooper do before. I'll be lying if I say I didn't love this movie. I mean, I know maybe there's going to be some people out there who are going to complain about this for some of the reasons we mentioned before, but this is a major full price for me. I was just simply entertained, and what more can you ask for?
Well, the people who would not like this movie for reasons of this haven't seen this in other movies before, I would invite those people to go fuck themselves because clearly they're not looking to they're looking for a reason to not be entertained. I would say those people who came in going like, fucking Ben Affleck, I knew it wasn't gonna be good. Sorry, this was easily one of the best movies I've seen this year. It had everything that I always want in these movies and just have given up on getting, where there's great action sequences, there's tension. I was tense throughout the entire movie without being manipulated by violins playing to get me there. If I had one complaint, it was like the very last shot, which is a little too much. It could have cut off sooner than that. It ended in kind of a Hallmark card moment, and it's like, you know what? That's not going to ruin this movie for me. This movie is a super high full price.
Yeah, the ending shot was just like when you're having sex with a girl and when she has her orgasm, she makes kind of a weird face for a second. You're like, what was that?
Yeah.
Or she farts.
No, that might ruin it, actually. But, you know, keeping with this metaphor, I don't actually love this film. I like it a lot. I mean, I would probably take it on a series of dates, maybe out for a kind of nice dinner, unlike some people who want to apparently marry it. Sitting in a tree, if you get my meaning. No, it's a really fun and well-made heist/noirish film. I love watching Ben Affleck reinvent himself the way he has. He's clearly so much better at doing this sort of thing, at being behind the camera, or doing both at the same time than he was just being a jackass, you know, a jackanape for other people.
Half-ass actor. Yeah.
It's really well done. I think that some people will be bugged by the fact that there are some really familiar tropes going on here, but you really shouldn't be on the whole. I mean,
and there's always by invitation if they are.
Yeah. And there's technology for that now.
That's Leon's Hallmark card. Hi, go fuck yourself.
What'd you think of the town? Really? Go fuck yourself. But no, this is a full price. I will give it a full price. Not a super high full price like these fellas here who's are balls deep in it. But, you know, I'll give it a solid full price.
I would say I just put the head in. I'm not balls deep like Leon is. I'm probably more siding with you. I realize it's not a perfect film, and I loved it just for the enjoyment I got of it. So. Yeah,
or Captain Middle of the Road.
I'm not middle. I give the movie a full price. What are you talking about?
I'll see you again, this side or the other.